Call the March 13th, 2025 meeting of the Richland County Board to order. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Silent prayer. Thank you. Call the roll.
Steve Stonert.
Present.
Travis Paddock.
Present.
Lauren Hinton.
Present.
Cindy Gibbon. Present. Alexis McFarland. Ryan Van Blarcom.
Present. Present. Welcome to all the guests this evening. Does anyone have changes to the agenda? Take a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second. Agenda is approved. Information, correspondence, upcoming meetings.
Next 3 meetings. JED meets on the 24th. No. Yes, JED meets on the 24th, 11 a.m. in the jail room. 911 board meets the 26th at 9 a.m. at the fire department. And the backtrack, public safety meets on the 18th at 7 p.m. here. 18th, Tuesday.
At what time? I'm sorry.
7 p.m.
The 708 meeting, 708 committee, mental health committee is having a meeting on March 19th at noon at the courthouse. And the finance committee will be having a meeting on March 18th here at 6 o'clock.
The Public Building Commission meets March 19th right here at 4 p.m. All right. That gets us down to open Illinois Extension.
Thank you. I'm Sarah Bierster. You see me every year about this time. I'm the county director for U of I Extension. I actually oversee 5 counties: Edwards, Lawrence, Richland, Wabash, and Blaine. And this is just our time of the year when we come to get our annual agreement signed. That's based on the levy you've already approved, budget you've approved. This is just a formality that the university likes to have when we send in our budget for the new year. Well, when we come, I like to give you bring some staff with me and give just a little update on some things we've been doing. I would have liked to have brought you our annual report, but it has not come back from the printers yet. So I had Katie pass out our latest quarterly report for you. You may have received that by email already, but I wanted to go ahead and bring a copy. With me tonight, I have 3 staff members. Katie Bell is our local food small farms educator who works in the ag field, and she covers all 5 counties. Herbie Hunt is our SNAP education community worker for Richland County, and Sherry Pitts, who is our office support assistant for Richland County, and she's going to talk a little bit about 4-H tonight. So with that, I'll turn it to you first, just to give so this year started off pretty strong. We've done some several county-wide events. So we had an agronomy summit over in Edwards County, but was open to all 5 counties, and we brought down university educators and scientists to come down and talk about different emerging issues in agriculture, new ag technology, updates on pests and pest control. And we had several farmers that are from Richland County who attended and said they really enjoyed it. So we look forward to hopefully moving that event around from county to county. And then some other things I've been doing a fruit tree series at the library and transition into gardening and kind of hit our more smaller homeowner audiences as well. So that's some of the things that we have going on right now. And then transition into spring and summer where I do a lot of, and I call it tech support and help, any questions that people have coming up, whether it's livestock or crops or their food in their backyard. Those questions have already started to trickle in. And so I expect to get lots of. I'll let Kirby go.
Hello, so I'm Kirby Hunt. I'm the SNAP Ed community worker for Richland County. We offer free nutrition classes through preschool all the way through to adults. So we have curriculum that would go into the schools. We have a lot of classes at the libraries. We also do what's called Eat, Move, Save booths, where we promote healthy eating. We hand out healthy recipes, physical activities to do. We have Illinois produce cards that we pass out along with the taste test. And we do this usually at maybe the WIC office, maybe food pantries. We've done it at the schools as well also. Something coming up exciting is our Illinois Junior Chef. We it's a cooking school for ages 8 to 13. It will be July 7th through the 11th here in Richland County. It's at Trinity Lutheran Church. And it's usually a big, just an awesome cooking school where they come and for 2 hours they learn basic skills. And so they have a lot of fun with that. So that's something we're looking forward to. Yeah.
I'm Sherry Pitts. I'm the office support assistant in Richland County for 4-H. In January, we did a sewing workshop and it was very well attended. We had 11 kids there. I don't think we could have had more. And they made pillowcases. And several of them have now enrolled in the sewing project to show them at the fair. And we did, our educator is doing Spark the Library programming every month. And she is currently in the high school doing a cooking challenge. So we currently have 265 active members, with 40 of those being clover buds, which clover buds are 5 to 7 years old. And we have 47 new members this year. We have 10 clubs, 1 STEM club, and 26 leaders.
Sherry. Sherry also had Katie pass out our fair schedule. I would say of my 5 counties, Richland is the largest for 4-H with the number of members we have, and that is definitely our largest fair. I'm often bringing in staff from my other counties just to work at the fair because it is so big and we have so many kids in it. We have added an event to the fair this year. I had several parents catching me at fair last summer and even at DuPois, Katie and I were down. We had a regional showcase and we had some Richland folks down there and they wanted a master showmanship clinic. And so we've added that this year that we will put on the night before the master showmanship competition. So the kids that earn senior or junior showman in their species will have a chance to come in and learn because they don't all show all species, and in master showman they have to show them all. And so we're going to put on a clinic for them just to get them a little more comfortable before the show. So that is all we have for you tonight. If you have any questions for us.
Hey, you guys still have an open position at the extension here?
Yes, we do. Sir.
So out of your new members, my kids are 2 of them and they absolutely love it. So that's good. Can't think of the name. Yeah. Fleming. Fleming. Terry. Yep. Yep. Pretty intense for straight into it. Yeah. But they love it.
So Sherry is awesome. So if you have any questions, we actually have a lot of parents come through the office quite a bit, needing help with forms and applications and needing livestock ownership information. So we'd be pretty good.
Sounds good.
Plus, my daughters have shown every animal taught me, so I kind of have first-hand experience.
Yeah. Don't tell my daughter that because she would love to see every animal out there.
One of the things we're going to discuss tonight is we're getting ready to apply for a broadband grant. And of course, that's to help bring broadband into the rural areas. Is the new organization help involved in that? Have you worked with Shelley Herman at all? Or she contacted you about what we're doing?
Year, they had a band. So it was a group of individuals from families that put together. They had members of the county board, health department, farm bureau. They had quite a bit of representation, and they were part of a cohort through the state. We have the broadband lab on campus. And there were some folks from Springfield that were involved in that. Have you been, I don't know how they got connected with that. Had anyone contact?
Well, we're working through, we're working with Wabash,
Wabash.
Greater.
Greater Wabash.
Greater Wabash region.
Right.
Do you know if you're in a cohort share for broadband?
That's not a term that came up, so I don't know.
I can do some checking on that to see if they're, it was monthly meetings that we went through last year. And in that group, they assigned you with a specialist from Springfield, and they would help you interview different internet providers. I think they ultimately are looking at Frontier possibly in that community. But I can definitely look into it. That's on the CED side of things, on Community and Economic Development Program.
Well, I know we're getting to March 20th. And that's just for the application. There's going to be a lot of work subsequent to that if we are awarded. So we get in contact with somebody. Yeah, since that is, I mean, the whole idea is to bring broadband into rural areas and again focused primarily on helping youth with that. So get involved with. Great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything under open? All right, we'll move on. Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Travis,
Yes.
in E4K for consent agenda, I got an updated estimate, but we need to review that. If the county road bridge might look a different direction on that, on number K.
Okay, let's move.
I just pull it until that next month.
Okay. Let's pull item K from the consent agenda. I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda without K.
Nothing to approve.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that gets us down to finance. Steve?
Yes, the finance committee met. First, we easy part, we approved claims. Subject to there was potentially one duplicate that we need to check with Corey on under the sheriff. There are two items to industrial network solution for the same amount. And looking at the file, it looks like it's the same invoice. So subject to pulling that potential one duplicate, I'll, at least for the totals, the totals included in here, but I'll see total county claims, $108,074.37, and non-county $91,623.16. So we make a motion to approve those claims subject to that one potential duplicate.
She'll move. Real quick, Corey's, I think, listening. Do we want to talk to him or just?
Yeah, I'm here. What was the item?
Hey, are you able to turn that down, Corey, or am I able to do that in here? Because you're really loud when you speak.
I can talk a little quieter if you'd like. Is that better? There's not a great way. Okay. Yep. So there's a you see on the side there's like a main volume slider. Turn that down just a hair. It's on the very right, I think. Let me know if it gets better. Sorry, I'm sorry I'm yelling. Yes, I can hear you.
There's a thicker.
Is it better? Or is it still really loud? I can't hear Morgan because he's not facing a microphone. Can somebody tell me if that's better or
1 second, Corey.
what about this? What if I do this? Is this better?
That's better.
That is better? Okay. All right. Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, the Zoom system is definitely a work in progress. We're gonna get that sucker fine-tuned. I do something different with it every time, so we're getting there. Can everybody hear me okay now?
Yes.
Fantastic. What was the item in question that might be a duplicate?
The sheriff's department, there was invoice for $1,155.48 to Industrial Network Solution, Cradle Point, and it's listed twice. In the file, it only showed the same invoice and same quote number. So I don't know if there's two different applications or is that just a.
So those are Cradle Points. Those are the routers, the cellular modems that we have in the squads. We have ordered several of those over the last couple of months. But if the quote, or more importantly, if the invoice number, is that a quote or an invoice that you're looking at, Steve?
Quote.
Okay. So that makes it a little more confusing. Do you have a quote number for me?
No, why don't you just look at it before we pay it tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely. I can do that. No problem.
Yeah. Seconded. This moved or seconded? I moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. The next item is the RCDC investor donation. That it was that what we talked about, the grant, or is that?
That was the,
That's a yearly.
it's in the budget.
Okay, that is in the budget. Well, just with the other thing that we talked about. Okay, so anyway, the RCDC investor donation, basically that's in the budget. The finance committee didn't want to make any changes, and unless this board wants to make any changes, it's already in the budget and basically will be go ahead and approved unless there's a motion raised to question it. Other than that, that was finance committee. The final item was, and it's again, it's not in the agenda, so I'm not sure what we can do here, but I'll at least explain. Basically, RCDC is getting ready to put together a broadband grant application that's due here March 22nd, 23rd,
20th.
20th, March 20th. And the question was, do we want Richland County's name to be on the application? And basically, the way it's going to work is that they're going to make an award, and basically we're applying for it. They're going to apply for a $300,000 grant, but it's going to be a reimbursable grant. So the entity that's overseeing the project, which is the county, we would have to front the money, and then we would apply for reimbursement from the state. It's a state awarded grant. And so basically, the county would have to front the money for the items of, it'd be basically for hardware, probably some broadband fees, various things. And so because they're wanting to get in the grant under this first pass or whatever of the grant application deadline, they're kind of pushing things rather quickly here. So Shelley made the presentation. Again, we don't have any documentation to review. Again, we are at risk for $300,000 if it's not reimbursed, but basically, according to Shelley and all the information that she has in correspondence with the state, that the money is there in the state. It's not something that's going to be yanked back by the federal government. And so the money is there. So basically, in order to complete the application, she's looking for basically agency or an entity to use as the applicant for the grant application. And so the finance committee listened to the presentation, and basically the concerns were, I mean, we would have to pay the money up front as expenses are incurred. So we'd be committed to $300,000, but the grant then would be subject to reimbursement by the state at the end of the grant period. We have cash in the bank to fund that as long as it doesn't end up. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it since we have the money in the bank, as long as we didn't have to expend for it or actually incur the final cost. So we'd be funding it up front. We'd be out to $300,000 at the end of the grant term, and then we will get reimbursed $300,000. So our overall net cost would be zero, but we would have to expend funds throughout the grant. The risks would be that if funding was or expenses were disallowed, then we could potentially be at risk for whatever costs up to $300,000 out of pocket if it was not reimbursed. So again, the finance committee listened to Shelley, had some discussion. We felt we would do it, and at least make a motion to go ahead and allow the county's name and to be added to the grant as the grant applicant with the possible exposure of $300,000, subject to, though, that we would have to have a public hearing for the $300,000 because it's not in the budget. And we will review the documentation prior to submitting it, and then also, again, we'd have final say as to whether or not we would, if we were awarded the grant, we would be able to accept or deny the grant at that point in time after it's been awarded. So we wouldn't, basically, we're not actually committing dollars until we say that we're accepting if the grant is awarded, until we say we're going to accept the grant award. So a lot of discussion there, and I provided a lot of details, but that's, I guess that would be the motion. So I guess if there's a second, we can discuss it further. But I'll make a motion. Okay.
So what is the time frame Yeah, we can discuss it. We just can't vote on it. Okay. So what is the time frame on the fronting of the money and the return time?
Well, asking Shelley again, they're not sure. They think that potentially May, June is when the grant will be awarded. And then the monies basically, depending on what it would be spent on, would be probably expended over a year, $300,000 over a year. And then.
So do they need their money by the 20th of this month then?
No.
That's
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. It's $100,000 per year, and my understanding is we would and I could be wrong about this. So my understanding is we would submit the claims as they come up. So we get, if we expend money, then we would submit a claim, and then we would get that grant money back. But I would need to confirm that with Shelley.
I spoke with Shelley on Tuesday, and I think it did sound like, Brian, to answer your question, it'd be like an annual repayment. It's like once a year they'd pay that back.
Okay. Well, it was discussed that the deadline was the 20th of March and today's the 13th, so.
But just to apply for it.
Got it. All right.
Nothing says we're gonna get it either, so. I'd say put it on the agenda next month.
That'll be too late then for the application.
It's not on the agenda, so we can't do anything with it tonight.
Yeah.
The submission for that is going to be March 20th, and we should have a draft available on March 18th. Is there any way we could have a special board meeting potentially on the 19th?
There were 2 meetings already scheduled for the 18th.
So we
We
could,
have
we could
that.
have a special meeting
Yeah.
18th and approve it then.
If it was public health and safety's meeting right after the finance.
So let's move that meeting to 7 and then we'll move after. So everybody's there. We'll have this special meeting at 7.
Yep.
If we're good,
All right, that's all right, then,
problem solved.
okay.
New agenda, Amanda.
Do I need to make a motion then to postpone it till, table it until March?
No motion.
Yeah, I don't
No
think we need a
motions
motion.
officially made.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that sounds like a plan. Okay.
You good, Steve?
Yes, that's it.
Seeing as we don't have the sheriff here, we will skip sheriff's report and go to state's attorney.
2 items this evening I'd like to discuss. The first is I'm asking for the approval to modify the assistant state's attorney position in the office from a part-time position to a full-time position. Currently, the assistant state's attorney is Mary Beth Welch Collins. She's an attorney from Florida. She joined in January. She's currently working 2 days a week. And she is willing to, if we would extend a contract to her for full-time work, to work full-time. I do now have the budget or the money in the budget to accomplish that.
So is there a motion needed for that then?
I guess it's just because we put the hiring freeze on it, we probably need to approve that, is that?
That was my thought process.
When is the hiring freeze over? Or do we do that?
It
We
was
didn't really.
indefinite, so.
Okay.
So moved.
You want to make a
I'll
motion?
make the motion and move her to full time, yeah.
Second?
Second.
Maureen seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The other item I have is there is an Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority grant that I would like to have the authority to apply for. I'm asking for permission because the county would have to be the requesting entity. It's a grant that would be used to support the Richland County Drug Court Program, which is a program that Judge Lindsay Waldrop is our drug court judge for. She is actually making the request for this grant to be applied for. She's spoken with Tegan Gardner already about writing the grant. There's currently no one in our geographical region who has requested for this grant, and the award range is anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000. It would be due April the 4th. And it is there's no match, and really the only requirements would be reporting requirements if awarded.
I don't think we usually give Zach expressed permission to do so. Does that sound right?
Yes.
So I think,
Good to go.
Yeah, I think.
So comfortable if we put Richland County as the requesting entity.
Yeah, I would be.
Okay.
As long as it doesn't cost us any money, huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
Only upside, I hope.
before we get too far away, I messaged Shelley Herman, and it sounds like that's 300,000 per year over a 3-year period, so upwards of 900 over 3 years.
That's kind of what I thought you had said, so,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, you good, Chelsea?
Yes.
All right, thank you. That gets us to animal control.
I didn't get some.
Local client stores. And submitted that to the public safety committee, and hopefully, we can get a working washer and dryer for some, like the 3,000 stuff for the animals. That's all I got, really.
Is anything going on with the building? I mean, everything's okay with the building?
removing an outside from the door to, no signs to make things flow a little better, but everything else is going pretty good.
And is electricity still on at the other location, old location?
Yeah, it's the outbuilding. Anyway, I unplugged the camera systems, I unhooked all the cameras and brought them over to the new building for Corey to get installed, and the monitor was still out there. So we get that moved over, and two kennels are left to get moved over.
Hey, Corey, are you listening still?
I sure am. I can't hear Andrea because she doesn't have a mic, but go ahead.
She mentioned cameras set up at the new facility. Is there, do you need anything before you install those?
No, the systems are compatible between the old and the new building. I have it on my calendar, so those will get moved in the next couple of weeks. Unless they need to be moved sooner.
I mean, okay, so they do have. I didn't know where we're on that. So I think what you have scheduled, just keep me posted, okay?
Okay, will do.
And to clarify, the washer and dryer that you have is,
Yeah.
okay,
The water, there's not enough water.
That's-
some air in there, but.
so that's not surprising, because I'm the one that donated those. They were really old. Right. Thank you.
We have hookups and
All right, thanks, Andrew. Gets us to highway business, Danny.
Everything was under the consent agenda. Thank you.
Board committee reports, IT.
So Corey, feel free to jump in if I misrepresent something. So we're requesting the purchase of a social media archiving software. I messaged you guys this earlier, so you should have a general idea, but essentially it is a software that will capture things that happen on social media. So like posting, comments, messages on the pages. Currently we have several offices with social media accounts, for example, like state's attorney, circuit clerk, sheriff. Those are kind of your big three currently. And this is kind of being requested before, like the ease of FOIA requests. Because currently, if we would have a FOIA request for a post or a comment or something, Corey would have to manually scroll those pages and manually find those things. And if someone deletes a comment that FOIA request, basically we are able to deliver that as well. And so this will, as I'm aware, live capture anything that happens on those pages for archive's sake. So Chelsea, were you kind of behind this type of stuff? Is there anything I'm missing or any importance that you want to speak about?
There's some concern, I think the sheriff could give you more detail, but there's some concern about some lawsuits that are out there of comments that have been deleted and they can't be recreated. So I think something like this is prudent just to protect those pages. I know Corey went through and gave us quotes and whatever is his recommendation, I think is probably the most appropriate avenue.
Yeah, and just to chime in here, after a little bit of research, I mean, we as a government entity, we are obliged to capture this type of information. If we decide to use social media, which we are using, then we also have a requirement to capture those things. And like Morgan said, if anything's deleted, or if there's an exchange, even on something like Messenger, we have to be able to pull those records. If not, we are, as Chelsea said, potentially liable there.
So I've kind of questioned, like, what if we turn like commenting off on these pages? Would we still be kind of subject to these requests? And kind of through that thought process, I think it'd have to be comments and messaging.
Mhm.
And I would hate to necessarily limit our messaging capabilities, especially to the sheriff's office. Because if I have zero clue if Andy gets any tips through Facebook, but it's feasible. And so if you're cutting off that avenue for a tip line, that could be have some negative consequences at some point. So the quote that Corey, he had two different kind of tiered quotes. He thinks the lower tiered quote would probably get us by with what we needed. That one comes at $36.41 per year with, I believe, a $500 setup fee. If we decide tonight or by the end of March, we could even go to the March 18th meeting. I think it has a 25% discount for this year. So add 25% for that for next year. If we choose to go with the ongoing basis. So, yeah, so I'll let you guys ask questions, or myself, Corey, Chelsea, or look for a motion as well.
It's just a 1-year contract.
Corey, 1-year contract.
That is correct, yes.
Also in discussions with Corey, being that we're not in the middle of a budget year, but past a new budget, we could probably take this out of infrastructure, what do I call it? Hardware infrastructure for year 1. And then next year, probably divvy it out, especially between the offices that do have those accounts that would be utilizing it at that point. So.
IT committee is recommending it. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve their recommendation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Gets us to old business. ARPA funds.
No report.
Let me go back, sorry, to 12. I'll throw in RCDC did have an investor meeting. You guys should have got that postcard over in the mail. Myself, Steve, and Cindy attended, and we had a speaker from a professor from Western Illinois University came down and spoke about kind of rural development and just some of the things they participate in to kind of boost population and business and especially rural counties and everything. So probably 30-ish, would you say, people attended, including the RCDC board and outside investors and even some new prospect investors. So it was a nice little informational meeting there last Tuesday.
Yeah, I think some of us were really surprised to consider what he had considered childcare as an economic
driver.
Yeah, economic driver to have affordable childcare. Just very eye-opening.
Yeah, because if you want workers to move into your town, most likely they'll have children, and where are those children going to go? So Steve brought up a good point too, childcare as well as like family friendly environments. So like recreational type things can be a good economic booster for a rural community. So that's one of the things our areas, typically lack is robust recreation type things. So we had lots of slideshows. I think Cindy requested this, or Cindy or Steve requested the slides from Shelley. So
Yeah, said I wanted them.
Yeah, a lot of small print data was presented.
Well, yeah, because they had not to, but he presented on other communities where they have gone in and with permission of the community and had input from all leaders, decided what was best for the whole community, and then made projects based on all of the input. And some of them were really, really successful.
And they offer this as a service, like a paid for service. And so like there's even a possibility of, basically hiring these professors from Western to kind of do that similar thing for our community. And
They've got look like someone recently, right? Mattoon was one of them.
Dietrich,
Yeah,
I believe. I think they mostly specialize heavily in like communities under like 10,000 people, 5,000. So right about our size. Anyway, I wanted to talk about that before we got out of that.
Okay. Any other board committee reports? That gets us down to new business. Discuss and approve LED proposal for courthouse lighting. Steve, do you want to talk on that? Maybe get a little research.
I did, but
Or do you want to talk on it?
I just gave the tour.
okay.
I just witnessed the tour.
Okay, well, anyway, this company basically, Steel LED, is offering to upgrade our lighting fixtures from fluorescent to LED. And again, probably most of you are aware that fluorescent is being phased out. And so this company is basically a partner with Ameren. And in conjunction with Ameren, they're offering an incentive for making that conversion. Again, we're looking at a project cost for the courthouse lighting, changing that around, a total cost of $12,664. Ameren incentive would be estimated $5,885 for a net cost to the county of $6,779. And they show a cumulative savings over 5 years, electrical efficiency, bulb efficiency, or whatever, almost $18,000. I did a AI analysis, have had them do a comparison, feeding in what information I could from this, and I was coming up with about a $13,000, or I shouldn't say the AI was coming up with about a $13,000 savings. And so it looks like it makes sense. I mean, overall, it makes sense when you think about it. Since they're phasing out fluorescence anyway, and we're gonna make fluorescent bulb replacements harder and harder to find. So since we've got this incentive and from Ameren to do this, I would say it'd probably be the time to do it. I did have a couple of questions on the contract. One, there was reference to exhibits, C and D, and I assume B, that is not admitted. So I emailed the Sam Migdal, who submitted the proposal, and he said, well, that was just standard language, and if there's no exhibits B, C, or D, then basically we could ignore that or knock that language out. The other item that I had a question on was media release. We were given a blanket consent to let them use our name, logo, and site, and they refer to pictures and everything else as allowing them to use that in their publicity and advertising. And I had a question because it is in the courthouse, and I didn't want pictures of kids or whatever being used in advertising. And so he said, well, that could be struck. That part could be struck. So really, they'd only use our name and logo, which I would have no problem with on that. So he said that language could be struck. But anyway, I would make a motion to go ahead and accept that proposal, subject to striking the media language, and also subject to, I don't know if Chelsea, have you had a chance to review that? Subject to Chelsea's final review, and if she has no problems going ahead.
I have a question, because I feel like,
Well, I made a motion, and I go second first.
Second.
Second, okay.
so I just have a question. Would it be okay when they took pictures to just like have it at closing time where there just wouldn't be people there? Like, I don't have a problem with the pictures, just.
Well, the problem was it specifically said in here, owner waives the opportunity and right to inspect or approve such copy photographs, digital images, or videos. So we were assigned this as is, we wouldn't even have a chance to look at the pictures that they wanted to use, and I just didn't agree with that.
I just wanted to
So
make sure.
if he's allowing us saying, well, we don't need that, that was again boilerplate language. If we just strike that, again, I'm okay with the putting our name and logo out there. If they want to list us as references, that's fine with me, but I just didn't want unlimited use or.
Well, and that's the thing, that was my number one, was they could just come at a time where there weren't people. And number two, it's in a public place, like, by being in a public place, you kind of consent to.
Good, but like I said.
I mean, if we just said, hey, we're taking pictures, most people would know. I just wanted to make sure that
Like I said, they're willing to strike that, yeah, they're willing to strike that,
Okay.
I just say.
Okay. Good discussion? Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Sorry, where do you think we'll take that out of?
I assume out of we pay the maintenance out of our county board, project lines, I guess, we just take it out of our maintenance, out of there.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Any other new business? All right, that gets us down to executive.
I would like to have an executive session to discuss personnel and I guess and or real estate.
Get a second. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.